Beginning of the first return or return right here, that guy of Sunday Smoke podcast.
Return is what he said.
Return.
Yes, return.
Yeah, make sure it says return.
That's
and
right.
Be really careful. We're careful with the way you enunciate.
Yes.
And we all struggle with that. Sometimes we say things with a little Southern slang. Sometimes we say things with the letter that's there, but sometimes they don't say it, the letter that's there. They have a problem with it. We'll get into that. I don't know. Part of this, revamp of the Sunday Smoke is kind of going to be evident in this little intro, because it's probably going to be the first topic we talk about.
Absolutely.
If you look at our dirtbag friend over here, which that's what we need to do, dirtbag friend, is we put our names on there, and we've listed them, but we're not using our podcast names. We're not using Dirtbag and Vulcan. We're going to do Coach House and...
I need to change mine to Dirtbag, though. Can I change it?
I don't know if you can change it, because we're such technological. Oh, you should sound it out. Use your words.
Use your words.
Put it out. When it comes to all this technology stuff. And hopefully I got a little better sound going. Playing with a little mixer board. You got a little different light going. You can actually see, the talent's face. He's got as he scratches his smiling face. Yep, you got it. You put it underneath.
I did. Now I can do that, and bam, there we go. So, dude, I can't tell you how excited I am. I know we've been talking about this on the behind the scenes, but to get back together to you, to have conversations and put it back out there to the people to listen to. I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that we're back doing it the way we want to do it. We're going to bring topics in and start having conversations that some people don't want to have, or start trying to bring levity to shitty situations, right? I think really that's what we want to do. Interview some people, bring some people in, that local people that just have had extraordinary lives, and interview them and talk to them, and at the same time, I guess, try to educate these that are listening.
Yeah, I don't know about that, education guy.
So
we can play with the media here. It's like that. I need a censor button's what I need.
No, you don't. That's what they love about it.
I do. Yes, I do need a censor button, so I can just go, meh. Well, actually, I do have a censor button. If I remember how to do this correctly.
Oh.
I can really censor.
Really? So if I just started talking, you could just...
I can just look. We don't have to look at you anymore.
Okay.
And by the way, it's like, look, you can say whatever you want to. Yes. Yes. I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Yes.
Fuck.
Yes. Perfect.
It shows me that you muted it, so as soon as it comes off.
Yes. So you have the technology to know when I mute you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I don't know if we're going to do any small introductions and all, because it's the original cast. It's season 1 redo of Sunday Smoke. I gave you a couple of teaser videos, which I don't know if I actually posted the last teaser video.
I don't think it did post. I never saw it, so I don't think the edited one ever posted.
Okay.
Maybe we can...
Well, actually, I might edit this part out and show the teaser, and then when this comes up, I might leave this in just to show you much, how organized we truly have been.
Yep. I think we're going to get there. We're going to edit this part out, so it can kind of come in. So you can use that's kind of what I like about Riverside, is that we can...
Riverside.
But we can actually cut out some of the stuff so it's not a rambling thing. That's what I wanted to avoid this time, is I love talking to you, and you and I get kind of rambling, but I kind of want to keep it on a thing.
I don't know that we ramble. I never felt like when we were just straight live that we were rambling. That doesn't sound right.
Nah, you're right. It's just my...
There's actually a very little when the downtime, quiet time, And I just heard myself say, I'm going to try to work on that, because I give people a really hard time for doing
The
that. And
fuck,
I get
yes, you do.
some people that, say, so,
Needle pulling thread. I do it at work now because you're a cunt.
yes, yes. You're welcome. You're very welcome.
It keeps me from saying it. I don't even type it in emails anymore. That is.
You don't type it in emails?
No, I won't even put it in emails because all I hear whenever I
Okay.
put that word is I hear that's a needle pulling thread. Fuck him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rewrite it and it even sounds better. So, aha.
You're welcome. I'll send you a bill.
Okay, I'm good with that.
No, Cash App, whatever.
So, for those listening, welcome Sunday Smoke. We are back. All right, let's do it again because you can edit it out. For those that are listening, welcome back. It is Dirtbag and Vulcan, Sunday Smoke, and we are going to talk about shit that most people want. We're going to bring up subjects and have in-depth conversations, everything from dark humor to philosophy,
Philosophy, yes. Sound it out. Use your words.
to religion, to innovation. We're going to bring it all into play. These are things that Vulcan and I talk about every time we're together. We have these conversations and we thought, why not start having it? We're not going to take away the humor of everything. We're going to make sure that we keep laughter in it. It's going to be fun, but we definitely want to have conversations because in today's environment, you have people that can't talk to one another. Why not have a podcast where we talk and we talk about shit we don't agree with. We talk about, it actually is going to be one of our podcasts, stuff that Mike and I truly disagree upon. But instead of arguing with each other, have a conversation that says, why do you view it that way? Why do you view it that way? And see how everything plays together because people don't realize the way Vulcan was brought up, the way I was brought up, it's two different things, and that shapes your beliefs. No matter how hard you try to shake it sometimes, it shapes.
Yeah, you're getting so much description now that we're almost into a podcast about.
We are.
Yes. So that's why we're going to lean the podcast. It's still going to be the random musings, but we're going to add a little bit more structure, and we're going to have a dedicated topic. We're still going to talk about, we'll talk anything from fitness-related stuff to philosophy, sustainability. We're going to do, maybe compare some history to what's going on now. Maybe it might enlighten somebody or show them something they missed or never been exposed to and how it kind of relates to today or similar to today. We're going to get into maybe some social things, like why we have to be in different groups or different. I don't know. I like to call it tribes, but some people get offended with that, and we're going to talk about the offensive language too.
We're going to talk about it all. We're going to bring up the when and why did certain words take on these terrible meanings when they never had them before. And mainly, and for those that are listening, we are just starting a conversation. We ain't trying to go out there and offend anybody. Just talk to us.
It's a genuine statement, genuine question.
Yes.
We'll listen in a genuine way.
Yes.
No arguing,
nothing.
Taking sides.
Nothing. Just have a conversation, And one of the big things we're going to have is something that I'm really noticing that I'm not an expert on, nothing like that. The AI, the deep fakes as they call them. Man, there are so many out there and there's so many different, I don't even know, social media news organizations that take snippets and they do this stuff and it gets people, man, it truly gets people up in arms. And if you do 10 minutes worth of research, you're like, that's not even, that's fake.
Yes, we're getting into another podcast topic.
Right. So
we're giving you a preview
of
what's coming.
We're going to talk about.
Yes, exactly what's coming. We have, I don't know, we could have you have a season and then it's episode. Episode is the word I'm looking for. So we probably talked about 5 or 6 different episodes that will be coming up. Yes.
Yep. Just want to give everybody a little preview, snippet, if you would, of what is coming.
And it's still going to be the same random musing, playful banter, a little more structure, and the fact of, yes, we do have a topic, and we're going to stick to the topic.
Yes.
And if we start getting a little off track, I might be able to, like, I don't know, stop. I can't. I was looking. I thought it was me. Like,
you thought you're going to look at that. We have sound effects, fuckers.
We have sound effects. I just don't know how to use them yet. Stop. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Huh? Little duck? Was that what that was?
Yeah, let's see.
We're gonna play that every time I take my pants off.
I don't know about that.
Oh, no, we are.
Actually, this is what we'll do.
Yeah. Either way, if I take my pants off, it brings people enjoyment. Play either one. Either way, people are happy.
That's another. Well, not really another, but it's just another addition to the software we're using, which is a little learning curve. Everything's in different spots. Not saying that the other software we used was bad, but this had a lot more available.
Wait a minute.
Remote.
So different spots. You haven't quite found the right spots yet to touch to make it work like it's supposed to.
Something like that. We do have a trophy though, so
okay.
It's work. That gets into it. That's all part of what we're about to talk about, I believe. Or we're going to talk about on the first episode. If our first episode happens tonight. I don't know if it happens tonight. Right now, could.
It could.
You know, I could be going live right now. But I didn't.
No, we didn't. I don't think we want to do live. We want to post it. Like, we want to record and then post it on Sundays, I think a week in advance, so people can listen, but it's been fine-tuned.
Actually, we'll have some. Maybe we'll start raising money by charging a membership, and I'll give them a link to where they can be an audience member for the live.
I think that would be cool. We set that up,
and then you can watch the polished.
Yeah, at the end,
internet gold when we do publish it to the platforms we're going to use. I know we're going to use Spotify for sure. I have to look at YouTube, and I even look at the everybody's addiction, the Facebook.
Yep.
I actually got an email last week when I was out of town that the review upon when I got my account suspended after it got hacked, they've given me back my Facebook account.
Oh, good.
So, that was from January, which I have not missed it one little bit. But, I wasted time this afternoon trying to get back my old Instagram account. Instead of having HFam Fitness, it was House Family Fitness.
Right.
And it was tied to my Facebook account, and it's suspended and was disabled. I'm sorry, it wasn't suspended, it was disabled because I got hacked and they did some questionable things. I guess. I mean, I don't know. You can't see any of it.
Yeah, you can't. It just goes away.
So I wasted time trying to get that back this afternoon and finally gave up. Like, it's the difficulty of me making I don't know how to do it yet. Which is good. Sometimes it takes a little bit for some of them to get the wheels turning.
Well, I was reading and trying to talk at the same time, and I'm not good at multitasking on certain things.
Yes. Breathing, talking, walking.
Yeah, tomato, tomato. Say what you want.
Yes, avocado.
The avocado. I really kind of, I don't know if we want to get into it because it's 8 o'clock and we will definitely get to chat and shit.
Maybe we'll just use this and we'll do kind of as an edit.
Yeah, I really do.
We'll trailer intro because we're at 16 minutes.
Yeah, because I really want to kind of give a little insight of the first podcast, which
I can add a marker.
Humor. Are you ready?
Humor.
So
humor. We're going like human, like
same thing. I said
who. How do you say who? Who? Like who is that?
Who?
Okay. And then you go
Humor.
Humor. Closer.
Yeah, it's humor. Leave me alone. I'm looking forward to. This is probably. I'm excited for every topic that we broke out. I really am. This one I'm very much looking forward to because it's how my brain works.
That's a scary thought.
You've known me for a long time, and you've seen me at some of my lowest lows. And even at those lowest lows, my brain says, "Oh, we got to make somebody laugh. We've got to make somebody not feel uncomfortable because of how you feel." It's where my mind goes. It doesn't matter how low I am. I've been in hundreds where I could lay
Even in
down
Woodward, hundreds.
hundreds, and but humor comes out. The worse shape I'm in, the more I want to hear laughter. It's what you know what I mean. Then I'm like, I'm ready. Okay, people are laughing. I'm still okay. I can press on. It's
And so let's just bring up the point of humor. When he said hundreds, he can use H. It does work over there. And that's another thing. It's like I know he was getting into like with the like humor breaks conflict. It lightens the mood, shows love for each other. It helps convince people of different things because it makes you feel at ease. If we're going for the podcast, we can go for the podcast. But yeah, it's a very deep subject for not shallow minds. Right? See, there we go. There's more humor. Or for shallow minds. It's a deep subject. It's a deep
for shallow
subject
minds.
for shallow minds. Yes.
Well, there's so much that we want to get into. Like, you and I will say shit to each other that if an outside agent said those same things, there would be conflict. It would be a different scenario, and everyone has that. But I just want people to think about this. The closer you get to somebody, the meaner you are to that. Like shows like a bond, like that is a scientific proven. The look at
mean,
our
is
look
in
at our
humor
friend
or
group.
picking on or
Yeah,
stepping over, talking over, that kind of thing? Like if we're talking over each other,
yes,
shows a big bond, right?
but it shows I can say shit to you because I know stuff about you that some people probably don't, and I can say shit that some people are like, man, that is fucking mean. No, it's Mike's in a place that he needs to laugh, and I know that something will be slight-handed will help. Being mean to one another. Look at the shit that we do to each other in the running group. The stuff we say to people. Come on, we have the world's meanest Mormon in our group. That's what we refer to him as. But we love him. If anything ever happened to him or his family, we would all, you know what I mean? We'd all be there in a heartbeat. But that's what we do.
Yeah.
And I
it is a way of connection too. I mean, it is
and
relationships.
yes. And one of the things that kind of ties into it that I want to talk about is if you tell a joke, if you start getting into comedy or you start getting into how close you can be with people and you tell a joke, and it could be an off-color joke, whatever it is, and someone outside of the group gets offended for someone else. It's that kind of shit that if I say a joke to you and you find it funny, but an outside agent got offended. Let's say I made a joke and it had the word God in it, and somebody outside of you and I loses their mind. But you had no problem with me saying the joke to you.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I want to get into is what I'm getting at is how subjective humor is.
Okay. So how humor works and intention is different than perception.
Intention is different than perception.
Yes, because your intention was this, I perceived it this way. Yes. And that gets into a lot of things. If you take it as genuine or real, or I guess you have to have that relationship first, though, right? If you don't have the relationship first, then you don't know my intent, or your perception is closer to my intent than if we don't have the relationship, then your perception is totally your inputs versus my inputs.
Right. So I have a question.
I'll have an answer, hopefully, or I can make one up.
If you and I go watch a stand-up comedian, let's say back in his prime, we went and saw George Carlin. And hopefully any people listen to this and have an idea who George Carlin was. If you do not, George Carlin has passed on probably 20 years ago, and he was an exceptional comedian, and he extremely intelligent. He took on a lot of social issues, and he turned those social issues into a skit, if you would, or a bit, as they would call it, right? And one of his famous ones is when he talks about God. And he says, you know, he goes into an elaborate thing about more people have died in the name of God. And he goes through all of this stuff about a God question and everything else. If you listen to it, even if you are a believer, you may not. That's it. You're making fun of God. You're doing, and you shut off to it. And then there's other people that may listen to that and go, he is not taking the Lord's name in vain. What he's saying is, over the years, if you look at history, he's kind of poking fun does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's actually another topic of podcast I want to get into is the religion part. It's amazing. I'll start trying to point out different things without of our lists that how everything's actually intertwined. Maybe we'll have a podcast about that, how everything is so intertwined. And there's a lot of things that we worry about that we shouldn't worry about because we're worrying about the same things.
Yes.
That's a lot of words all bunched up together.
Well, have you seen that? You only got two things to worry about? Are you sick?
I guess not, because I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, this one or two.
Yeah, you're sick.
So you like two or one better?
No, yeah,
Is it
two
two
better.
or one?
Have you not heard? No bullshit. Have you not seen that?
One or two?
Have you?
I have not.
Okay. You have two things to worry about, Mike. Are you sick? Are you healthy? If you're healthy, you got nothing to worry about. If you're sick, you got two things to worry about. Are you going to get worse or are you going to get better?
Yes.
If you get better, you got nothing to worry about.
That's right.
If you get worse, you got two things to worry about. Are you going to die or are you going to make it? If you make it, you got nothing to worry about. If you die, you got two things to worry about. Heaven or hell, right? If you go to heaven, got nothing to worry about. If you go to hell, got two things to worry about. Right? Original or crispy?
Yes.
But
it's a good thing.
You make that joke, but it truly does show, are you healthy? Yes. Then you got nothing to worry about. All the other shit is circumstantial. That ties into, I love making people laugh. I think that laughter cures so much. It can break a tense situation. It can
increase sales.
It can
promote education. It promotes education because it builds a relationship.
Yes. It can.
You say it breaks an intense situation. Yes. Give another example. It's not that I always try to walk over you and talk, but yeah. As I'm still talking and walking over you.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm. At least I'm aware.
It's what I love about you.
Yes.
And and so that is, like the big topic that I want to discuss with you is how laughter, humor, what you perceive as funny, what I perceive as funny. Show an article. It is scientifically proven that what people find funny also directly correlates with their intelligence. People could say,
correlate. Great word. Listen to that, people. Look it up. Correlates, not cause. Correlation, causation. Two different words.
Yes.
Glad you brought that up and said it the exact right way.
Yes. So that's what I want to have that discussion, because when you are 8, 9, 10 years old, parts are funny, right? Doesn't matter. Parts are
It could
funny.
be, you could be
50
over
years
half
old,
century and they're still funny in the right
50
situation,
years
right?
old, farts are funny.
If you're the one sitting beside me on the airplane, it's not funny. I mean, but if I'm the guy sitting beside you on the airplane, it's funny to me.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny.
Intense perception.
That's right. And so I find that so fascinating, that how you look at individuals that
Did you hear that?
I did.
There's nothing but cats upstairs. I'm scared.
You shall take a broom and a dustpan upstairs. You probably will need it.
Yes. Yes.
I found that to be fascinating, how your intelligence directly correlates with what you find funny. And so I did some deep diving.
I don't know how deep you can. Well, you can dive pretty deep.
I can dive pretty deep. I was I was so intrigued. I started going down the rabbit hole of dark humor, as they call it. That's those jokes about people in wheelchairs, abortion. That is you're going off on a little humor that people aren't
Okay.
supposed to. They're not supposed to make fun of, right? And
It depends. It is a more classical humor because there's always a subject that's being, I don't want to say picked on. I have this lack of vocabulary all of a sudden. This the like the I'm losing it. Yeah, use the words. This right here is going too fast. I should have stepped all over you when I remembered the word.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we're waiting. So studio
We're waiting.
audience,
Yeah.
people that are listening, this is what's called awkward.
Yes, very awkward.
And you'll probably I'll probably say something.
I'll probably pull it in. Hopefully, I can.
They did the experiment, looking at dark humor, looking at intelligence levels, and aggressive, and those individuals that find dark humor and appreciate it more, that means they have the intellect to not only see it but comprehend it. Like, oh, I understand the joke. They don't look at it as face value. They comprehend, which is a big difference. Hearing a joke and comprehending a joke, two different things. And then they also compared their aggressive levels, and individuals that really appreciated and comprehended that type of humor, the least aggressive, and some of the higher intellect.
Well, I guess the darker humor, the target is a marginal group or a not protected group, just a, I guess I would say marginal group that you're making fun of and almost stereotypical, but there's a reason they're stereotypes because it follows a trend and people get uncomfortable sometimes, but it's all in genuine fun, which I don't know if you can explain how that feels to different people. I don't know. That's getting my head thinking really, really deep.
Right. So if you let's look at some things that are highly successful. Let's look at the podcast Kill Tony. That's Tony Hinchcliffe and the individuals that hang out with him. If you kind of look at that, he will bring individuals up for a minute. You put your name in a hat or in a bucket. If you get pulled, you come up and do a minute of stand-up comedy. There is a lot of individuals that come up and they have a disability. There is a young lady that's in a wheelchair and she is knocked out. She is a beautiful little redheaded lady and funny. And I do mean fucking funny. And they give her shit. There's another guy that's a mute. He has to type everything into his phone. Another guy, his mind is just on fire and he is so funny. But they bust his ass. And they've interviewed people. Do you know why they've got so many individuals with disabilities that apply to get their name in the bucket to get on that show? Because they treat them no differently than anyone else. Everyone talks, everyone screams about equality, but yet they also at the same time, if you make fun of someone with a disability, they lose their fucking mind. But yet it Kill Tony is
they're being included in a different way.
They're being
I know exactly. I've seen some shows.
They're being treated like everyone else. You walk on that stage and they roast your ass. And I've never seen genuine laughter like that on those people's faces.
Well, you have to be real careful about when you say those people's faces.
Those people on the stage, they put their name in the bucket. You're right though, and that
I'm gonna tag that to show the harshness of everybody's language, because it was a genuine statement. You were saying you had no intent for it to be. Yes, but people would find you can't say that. So that's another podcast right there. See, they all relate. Especially when you get into humor. There's all kinds of the subjects we're talking about that people not in an entertainment humor setting get upset about.
They do, and they get upset for other people, and that's what. Now you want to talk about one that kind of pissed me off? It's that if you make a joke, if I made a joke in a room, let's say I finally get the audacity and I get the balls to do an open mic night, and I put some of the bullshit that I always say to you guys, and I just put it on 5 minutes, and I went up there and I just here it is. I had a few beers. Here you go. Here's my fucked up brain for 5 minutes. When you say some jokes, if you make a joke, I don't know, I'm just gonna, Rev, I love you. If I made a Mormon joke and Rev was in the audience and he laughed his ass off, but yet another person that was over here that was a different religion, they're not a Mormon, they're not anything, and they got all offended, that's when you have to go, hey, that was the joke directed directly at that person, and they found it fucking hilarious. It's other people. That's when you start having issues, is when people get offended for others. And that pisses me off, because if there's a societal group and you make a joke and that societal group is not, they find humor in it and they're not complaining, an outside agency shouldn't be saying anything, because to me that's more you're trying to speak up for that group. They don't know that you said something.
People have lost the fine art of
that. So that's what you're doing to them.
That you don't have to have an opinion on something.
No, I don't think that's. Hold on.
You don't have to have an opinion on something.
No, I have the internet in front of me, and yes, you do have to have an opinion. It says
right here it's a lost art. Yes.
It says it right here on the Google.
On the Google, yes, exactly, right on the Google.
Can I have an opinion on everything? It says yes. You should have an opinion on everything.
Put it in Gemini or Chat GPT-4 or 7 or 8, whatever they're going to release here.
Should I have an opinion? See what it says.
Yes. Should I have an opinion on everything? You know, and shocking enough, this is another thing. It's like everything you hear is opinion. If you really think about it, everything you see is a presentation. We'll just leave you that little nugget to think about.
Google even told me, learn the value of not having an opinion on everything, the dangers of the illusion of omniscience, and the importance of thoughtful opinion formation.
I'm glad that it's on your computer you did that, so now you're on that list.
Okay.
As opposed to all the other lists you have.
Yeah, just add it to the other fucking list. But it
might get you out of one of the lists.
Huh?
It might get you out of one of your lists.
Yeah, and then this automatically comes up with why you should have fewer opinions and all that. But it is funny. Learn the value of not having an opinion on everything. So there you go, people. So those that look at everything on the Google, there you go.
Well, then, this I could lead into, like, almost, hey, that's almost like a, should I say, 1984 or Brave New World kind of lead in, too. It's like, one thing it tells you is you don't need to have an opinion on everything, which I just said, which you don't have to have an opinion on everything.
You shouldn't.
For argument. But then if you're getting it from the Google and the Google says you need to lessen your opinions on things, because here's the things we want you to have the opinion on.
Yep.
Right? That's a big circle.
It is a big circle, and I wish more people would adhere to that. You don't have to have an opinion on everything, and you definitely should not have an opinion on things that you are extremely uneducated on. Right?
Well, that's the tricky part about education. If you're uneducated, you don't know that you're uneducated, right?
That is true.
You haven't been exposed.
Being stupid and being dead are one and the same. You have no idea, and it's painful for others.
Exactly. I'm about to finish that statement for you. You don't know any different, but we do.
That's right. All right, I'll be right back.
I'm gonna pause it. And we'll see how that works out because I put a pause in there because little Dirtbag.
I had to pee.
Misspoke there. Yeah, he had to go potty.
I had to go make pee.
Yes. Or leave pee. Make pee and leave.
Yeah, I had to leave pee. Actually, getting into the topic, so looking at laughter, looking at what it can do for people and all of that, breaks tension. Right? You can be in a very tense situation and somebody do something, and that tension, it's gone. It may come back. I'm not saying that it erases it, but for that split period of time.
It's a tipping point, though. You gotta be careful on your use of humor in the situation.
Well, it's awesome.
So that's why you have to have a relationship. So that's why I think as we're thinking and talking right now, if we use this or not, you're talking about how it breaks tension and everything, but you have to have it builds a relationship is why it breaks tension. The humor builds the relationship. It builds a little connection, a commonality kind of thing.
Well, I will use an example, right? So I have to go to, I'm going to Canada. I was having a meeting with the manager over the entire Canadian subregion, and we're talking about the importance of.
I'll make fun of you.
No, and we're talking about the importance of training and all of the stuff, right? And getting all the financials laid out. And when we're talking about the cost, he was like, that's a little steep. And he was very worried about the dollar amount. And what I did is I said, hey, I've seen my training. It's worth every dollar, right? That's a good little joke to kind of slide in. And he started laughing, and he said, "You're right. I've heard nothing but great things from the last trainings you've conducted. You're right. Come on, we're gonna get this entire thing in, right?"
Correct.
But it was a little joke like that got him, that kind of helped push it over the edge.
A relationship, right? So, like we were talking about before. That's why we have such playful banter, especially when we talk about topics and all that. I don't know, I got on my shoulder. It's amazing. Because it does relieve the tension, builds a relationship. It actually is like emotional and even physical well-being humor. I mean, it's been proven, you have a better attitude, you have more fun, It's actually physically more healthy to be that way than to be the opposite of that way.
190%.
Yeah, divide that in half, and he's about right. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
He's not full grown, is why.
Well,
it's hard to not point out the examples when they happen all the time, right?
Well, what some people may not realize is we started this whole thing on taking care of yourself. Remember, our whole thing that we started this on was just move. Remember, we started this because we just wanted to see people walk to their mailbox instead of stopping at the top of the driveway, getting all their shit, and then driving down. Drive down and walk back up. And we didn't mean it to try to.
The original part, the reason we did the podcast, and it morphed into what it did, and it's morphing into something a little more.
Right, but I'm tying this back into that. That was our original thing. Do small steps. Do small things to start moving into a different lifestyle, right? When I talk about jokes and laughter. If you find joy, laughter every day, find something that makes you laugh. Your body releases endorphins every time that you laugh. When you find something funny, it triggers a chemical reaction in your body to release endorphins. Those endorphins are your body's natural pain reliever. It elevates your mood. So, once again, back to that tension break. But if you laugh, it brings you out of anger, whatever, it elevates your mood from whatever it is. It's a stress reducer. It's hard to be, you can't stress about something if you're watching something and it's making you laugh your ass off. You're not thinking about the things that stress you.
And it's actually a coping mechanism, too.
It is a coping mechanism.
Because it gives you a little euphoria for a moment.
Which that euphoria does what? Boosts your immune system. It boosts your immune system.
I'm about to say there's not an H in that
No,
one.
it boosts your immune system. And one of the big things is it's a social bonding thing. If you go to a comedy club, whether you like a Jim Gaffigan, who is a very clean comic, no cuss words, no nothing, or if you go all the way to the other end of the spectrum where you have Tom Segura, Theo Von, Bert Kreischer, if you get on that end where it's a darker, more cussing type humor, if everyone in that room that went to see Jim Gaffigan, a clean comic, and they're laughing and they're enjoying it, that room is bonding over things that man is saying. It is no different than people that find this type of humor funny. That's what I'm trying to get people to realize. That may not be your cup of tea, and you may not find that funny, and vice versa. But those people that are finding those type of jokes hilarious, they bond with one another, and that's how people. That old saying.
Get into different inputs and point of view perspectives and all that. That's another chapter in the podcast, right?
Yeah, it's all.
But you brought up a point though. It's like all these people are sitting in the same room and enjoying and making relationships or feeling included maybe in that small area, clan, group, however you want to classify, like this gaggle of people. And so now, is it to actually listen to the humor, or is it actually the connections you're making that gives you such a mental well-being, because now you feel like you're part of a village? Village is a great word. Village. You're in the same village. So if you all agree that this is funny and whatever it is,
y'all
like presented, whatever, now you're a part of a village. Village is a better word than tribe.
Yes, everyone has a like interest. That's how you make friends. We all met because we had similar interest, right?
Bondsman or something? The same bondsman or same?
It doesn't matter. Tomato, tomato. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Interest?
Yeah, same interest.
Same bondsman, same probation job.
You almost died.
That'd be physical comedy right there. Almost physical comedy.
And I look at the initial thing that brought us together was really being out in the woods, that first run. And then we cracked a beer together. And we're like, oh, we think a lot of like. Over the years, we've learned that we have a lot of the same interest. I'm not as an in-depth mechanic as you are, but I'm very mechanical, and I have a vast knowledge. I have a vast knowledge of cars over the years, from 70s to 2025. I can't pinpoint anything like you can exactly, but you and I can have a very expansive conversation about cars over the years, how they've grown and all that kind of stuff, because it interests me.
They took the wrong turns and the decisions they made that were bad. Yes.
And
yeah.
But
and then I can make fun of you when I know something you don't, and you can do the same to me.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And what's funny,
like, because you know that 65 Beetle has need a radiator replaced, right?
Absolutely. 65 Beetle needs a radiator replaced. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yes.
those radiator,
Yeah.
hey, and what most people don't know is that those radiators are mounted in the very front of the Beetle in
Mhm.
underneath the
Mhm.
hood, and they lay flat, and then the air gets sucked in underneath.
Yes.
Yeah. So most
Yes.
people don't know that.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
just like it is.
It's like the metric bearing for the muffler versus the imperial bearing for the muffler.
Well, it depends on what model you have. Now, are you in
It depends on where it was assembled.
are you in a
I mean, it
VW?
was assembled because it could be a empirical American built car, but it could have a metric muffler bearing because it was assembled overseas.
That's a true story. Absolutely.
And then you had to go right-handed or left-handed, and it's not because of the driver; it's because of the mechanic installing it.
Yep. Yeah. Some people don't realize that you cannot put a left-handed tire on a right-hand side of a car. That's on
right.
any make and model.
It depends if they're like trying to get the hub bearing though installed. They have to use a metric or a right-handed hammer.
Yeah.
If you're left-handed, you have to use an empirical.
Yeah, but you're getting into the weeds. Everyone knows that if you get a metric crescent wrench that has the hammer on the opposite side, you can put anything together. So quit confusing people.
Okay, that's right. We will not confuse people. We will not let them think about that, or hopefully they might research something like that.
I hope so.
Or not.
Or we can talk about thermodynamics now, and we can talk about cryogenics. We can do that.
We can put you down in the cryogenics. We'll call you Dirtbag Solo,
Yeah.
and we'll get somebody to be Java.
Yeah.
And I'll hang you up on that wall right there behind you.
Yeah. Put it right there.
That big blank space to the
Right there.
to the right of the,
Of the van.
or it'd be to the left if you're looking at it, but to your right. Yes.
So, but well, hey, throw some snippets in there.
We hope y'all enjoyed the first episode of the Sunday Smoke podcast reboot. Please follow, like, and subscribe on all the social media platforms. If you would like to be an audience member during the live recordings, reach out to Vulcan or Dirtbag.